death is a possibility. And I said, fuck it. How many people gonna say fuck it in the face of death?
The 18th of January, 2013, The Strength Project upload a video, The Strongest Man You've Never Heard Of. Once unknown, he suddenly captivated a whole generation of lifters. Every gym you would go into, you'd hear people quoting and using his words as fuel. The Superman from Compton brought excitement and energy back into the gym. It didn't take long for his words to escape the gym. Suddenly you had men and women from all walks of life commenting on his videos. Because of him, they found strength. Because of him, they hadn't given up. C.T. Fletcher was saving lives. Growing up, we didn't have mentors. We had no one to point us in the right direction, no one to tell us how to behave or what to become. But we found CT, a man that prided above all else hard work. It was hard work that built us. The three of us brothers working out in the garden, covered in snow, quoting C.T. Fletcher. It was motivation that built us and built our company. From the pink attic in our mum's house to globally recognized brand. The thousands of hours, years of effort. Motivated and fueled by C.T. Fletcher. The man that motivates The Rock, Terry Crews, Joe Rogan. These guys listen to C.T. Fletcher. So imagine, one day, walking through the doors of the Iron Addicts gym and meeting the man that motivated millions. The man that we owe a lot of our success to. 31st of August 2014, we uploaded a video titled Obsession. It was C.T. Fletcher's message to the world. The response was incredible. Over the years, I've read comments from cancer survivors to drug addicts, giving thanks to the man from Compton. We left a little message on that video. It would mean a lot if we could try and get the man himself to comment on this video. 9 years later, almost exactly to the day, 28th of August 2023. Imagine one day walking through the doors of the Iron Addicts gym and meeting the man that captured millions. And now we get to hear his story, the truth behind the man. How did he become the Compton Superman? What motivates him? How he died multiple times and came back, rose up, and still motivates millions. C.T. Fletcher was born in 1959, Arkansas. At age 1, he moved to Compton with his mother and father. His mother was a housewife and his father was a veteran from the Korean War.
I am C.T. Fletcher, the Superman from Compton, and I talk a lot of shit. It was a pretty turbulent time to grow up. First time I had a gun pulled on me, I was in the 9th grade.
Do you remember as a kid the worst moment?
Yeah, I absolutely remember the worst moment. It was the moment that I decided that if this happens again, I'm gonna kill him. I came home from work, 14 years old, and I had a full-time job. And I come home from work, and I was working at a convalescent hospital, so I had an all-white uniform on. My dad asked me a question, and I gave him the wrong answer, and he just busted my nose completely, and blood was all over the all-white uniform. I never forget that. My mom comes in, she sees all the blood all over the place, and she just passed out. She fainted. My dad looks at me and goes, "See what you did?" I made up my mind from that moment on. At 14, if he does this again, I'm gonna kill him. So when she came in and fainted, that stopped him. It was, oh my God, look what you did to your mother. So that stopped the beating. But this is the one point of contention that me and my mother had. I loved her to death. I thought she was an angel on earth. I still think that she's responsible for me being sane at all. I'd be completely insane if it wasn't for my mother. And I had my moments. But she would not interfere, like run in there and say, "Don't do that," or "Stop," she would. But afterwards, she would come in and try to pick up the pieces and try to make the home livable. And she would come in, like after this particular incident, I had to go to the hospital, and doctors, and they said, "Well, how did this happen?" And I told them exactly what happened. My dad did it, and they were like, "Oh wow, this is child abuse." Even back then, you could get away with a lot of stuff back then you couldn't do now, but back then it was still considered child abuse because of the degree of my injuries. So they said, "If you want, we can have him arrested. We'll go to the post office, and we'll pick him up and we'll arrest him and take him to jail." And I was like, "Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, arrest that motherfucker, take him to jail, throw him under the fucking jail. I just wanted to embarrass him in front of his friends, hell yeah." And my mom was like, "No, please don't do that. No, that's your father." My mom's tears didn't get me to do anything. If she cried, that was it. My dad was a preacher, which is, a contrast, big time. Supposed to be helping people and saving souls and guiding people toward heaven. And his mission, he always told me that if I wasn't, doing the same thing that he was doing, he wanted me to be a preacher also, that my life would amount to absolutely nothing, zero. So anything else that I was doing besides what he wanted me to do was a failure as far as he was concerned. Everything at the time was a sin. Liking girls was a sin. So my dad found a little love note I wrote to a girl in church one Sunday, and it said, "I like you, do you like me? Check this box," And he found the note and proceeded to whoop my ass in church in front of everybody to teach me a good lesson about liking girls. As horrible as my upbringing at home was, what it did, it made me able to cope what was going on outside my doors. Whatever happened on the outside of the doors could not compare to what's happening on the inside of the doors. I do not want my children to feel about me the way I felt about my dad. I don't want my kids to fear me or, be afraid of me. That's the worst thing that can happen because it happened to me, so I know how it is, I had yin and yang. I had my dad on one hand, and I had my mother on the other hand. I had the devil on one hand and the angel on another. So I had a perfect example of both extremes. The extreme of my father and the extreme of my mother. She was the extreme person as far as giving and loving. She could not be matched. I have not seen her equal to this day. If she had 10 cents in her purse and somebody else needed that whole dime, not 9 cents, they needed the whole dime worse than she did, they were gonna get that dime. And that was the example, that I grew up and I had from her, so.
Samson, the man of the sun, given immense strength to aid him against his enemies and allow him to perform superhuman feats, including slaying a lion with his bare hands. He is sometimes considered a demigod, comparable to Hercules.
The Bible, my favorite story was the story of Samson, and the strongest man that ever lived, and how he took the jawbone on an ass and killed 1,000 men and pushed down the palace on top of all these bad people, the Philistines. So that story and the stories that I grew up as a kid, the stories of my uncles who were super strong, my grandfather, they called him Mew, he was you know, the legend of Grandpa Mule, how strong he was. Strength stories all throughout my childhood always gave me a fascination with strength. And my dad himself, you know, I heard a lot of stories about how strong he was, and I always had the desire on the inside to be stronger than him.
My name is Samson Fletcher, and I'm a competitive powerlifter, and picking me up from school. And all the little kids being amazed, you know, amazement, just seeing him. Man, is your dad the Hulk? Is your dad, you know what I mean? So that's what really lit the fire, for me, is, you know, seeing my peers talk about, you know, how, you know, strong and how heroic he looked. He was a heroic figure to my friends, to my peers. And, you know, they would try to compare, you know, their fathers to mine. I was like, there's only one, man, CT Fletcher, for real.
Great job by Samson Fletcher.
I never ever pushed any of my children to, you know, do anything athletic. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, because I knew how it was to be pushed into a field that you have no interest in whatsoever. I was never interested in being a preacher. So, but my dad, you know, insisted, you know, he wanted to push me into doing that. And it's horrible being pushed into something that you have no desire for whatsoever. Once they pick out something they want to do, whatever it is, I'm gonna be behind them 100%. So my older son is really into cars like I am. So that's what we share together. We enjoy cars, you know. But Samson, he started following me to the gym, you know, in diapers. He's such a little kid. He's always from day one. And I never, you know, encouraged him, never, you know, hey, you going to the gym? I'm going with you. I thought I would never run into another individual in my lifetime that was as dedicated or obsessed with weights as I was. It's just impossible for anybody to be. Samson is more than a match than I ever was. I mean, more determined, more obsessed than I ever was. And I just, man, I'm so happy about that. He was talking about legacy. That's my living legacy right there.
Just like a businessman, this is my office. This is where I do my thing. Let's go.
Come on, CT, let's go.
Overtraining was a normal thing for me. I didn't think it was called fucking overtraining. I didn't fucking believe. What do you mean overtraining? 200 rep sets, man, that's just fucking training. That ain't overtraining. How can you do too many squats or too many deadlifts or too many? You're out of your fucking mind. They think I'm crazy when I say fuck overtraining. I think they crazy for saying it's overtraining. So, yeah, I'm like, this is just a normal fucking workout, man. It depends on who you're talking to, whether it's overtraining or not. Talk to me, it's no fucking such thing, baby. Let's go. When I say obsessed with weightlifting, when I wasn't weightlifting, I was dreaming about weightlifting. If I wasn't doing it, I'm dreaming about it, I'm talking about it. And where's CT at? Anybody who knew me knew, where's CT at? In the gym. Fuck, either I'm at work or in the gym. A lot of people, I worked a 8, 12-hour day, whatever the shift called for at the post office. My entire weightlifting career, I worked at the post office, 28 years at the post office. So all during world championships, I always had a regular job. So I was working, but man, and while I'm at the post office working, I'm thinking about, fucking, I can't wait to get out of here so I can go lift weights for another 3-4 hours. It was just, weightlifting was my magnificent obsession. I mean, you gotta want to do it bad, to do it after, on a world championship level, to do it after you put in 8, 12 hours on your regular job and then go do this shit. I mean, a lot of these guys, I see them now complaining about their weightlifting, and that's all they do is lift weights. They don't have a fucking regular job trying to take care of 3 or 4 little kids, making sure everybody, and then go do this. Then I'll kind of listen to your complaints, but if all you're doing is lifting weights and you're fucking complaining, shut the fuck up. At my peak strength, I was 325 pounds. My best lift, I bench pressed 705 in the gym, not in competition. That was my best lift. I mean, I squatted the same as I bench pressed. So my deadlift was around the same as my, a little over, 750, I think it was my max deadlift. So all in the sevens. The bench, squat, and deadlift, all in the sevens.
For our two guest lifter competitors.
C.T. Fletcher was a symbol of hope. He held no great gifts, no birthrights. He was an ordinary guy, just like the millions of people watching his videos. But he held something, an idea, a belief. It's still your motherfucking set. That belief transcended the gym. We carry it into our daily lives. When life gets hard, it's still your set. When you want to give up, it's still your set. It doesn't deny your suffering. It is acknowledgement that despite the struggle, you still have to get up and face the day. Stop pitying yourself. Stop making excuses. It is still your set.
I was 9 years old, and a lot of people don't know this, but I used to have to get counseling because of that. My father is my best friend, and so it was really traumatic, traumatizing growing up and seeing him have to do that. IV drip, in his arm, laying against the wall. Never forget, he had like a leopard blanket that he used to just throw over him and just, literally be lying against the wall. And we just have to take every day for a grain of salt, just, very, very little by little every day, and just keep the faith. I'd feed him, do my best to, walk him around the house. Obviously, he was still a big man. I did as much as I can do at 9 years old. Pressure, for a 9-year-old especially, seeing your father go through that and someone that you look up to and idolize in that sense, it was very tough as a 9-year-old going through that. As a father figure, he was just someone you like to, to strive to be like. He was a family man, never forced me to do anything, never forced any of my siblings to do anything. Very soft-spoken. A lot of people probably get the wrong idea about him because how he looks and, the tattoos, the muscle-bound man you see, but he was total opposite behind closed doors. Very down to earth, give you the shirt off his back, and like I said, someone to strive to be like.
You know what surprised me when I met CT? The baddest man. He looked so mean and was full of profanity and intensity. His tattoos and sheer size made him look so mean. When I met him, I was greeted by a warm and kind soul. This is what most people speak of CT and his family. They are gentle, caring and passionate, raised in chaos, abuse and violence. He was not defined by this. Instead, from his mother, he learned kindness and generosity.
Do you know that CT was a veteran too?
Yeah, I actually did. I was reading that. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
The following is a message from CT Fletcher. In 2004, I got my next devastating blow. On May 26, 2004, I suffered the loss of my mother. She was and will always be a beacon of hope, my pillar of strength. She passed away on her kitchen floor while preparing breakfast for my father. My mother suffered many of her last years from congestive heart failure. However, to her last day, to her last hour, to her final seconds of life, she remained committed to her life choices. It was her decision to put aside adversity and always be what she perceived to be the best wife she could be. It is through her unwavering example, I believe, it's still your motherfucking set. In 2001, Fletcher received a phone call from his doctor. His hypertension was life-threatening. It had become exacerbated by his work conditions and had now taken its toll on his heart. His body had taken a major hit and he was totally disabled at the age of 42. In 2004, his mother died from congestive heart failure. C.T. Fletcher had inherited a heart condition from his mother that has heavily impacted his life. His mother and all 9 of her siblings died from heart problems. Fletcher's health was not looking good, and he was assured that physical training could be the death of him. The excessive training had taken its toll on C.T. His doctor was now adamant that C.T.'s lifting days were over. C.T. Fletcher died for the first time.
I'm at home talking to my wife like I'm talking to you. No doctors around, no hospital. Bam, I'm gone. I'm thinking, you know, we're in the middle of a conversation. People say that your life flashes before your eyes in a split second, just that fast, when you're dying, and that is somewhat true. But it was not my life that flashed before my eyes. It was the things that I had not done that I wanted to do that flashed before my eyes. I'm thinking of a million things that I still wanted to do, and my time's up. I'm like, oh man, I still gotta do it, time's up, oh no! So many people are afraid of dying, but this was 3-4 minutes, and it felt like I had been asleep for 2 weeks. I was so restful. It was the most peaceful, the most restful. Nothing on earth can compare to it. Nothing on earth compares to death. Death was the most restful, peaceful place that I have. Nothing else comes close to it. Fear of death was gone after those experiences. I still want to be here. Because I still got shit I want to see done. I hadn't seen my son reach the potential that I wanted him to reach. I hadn't seen my grandkids or some grandkids that I hadn't seen. I want to see them grow up. I want to do, I'm out of time. And it was just like an old TV set. They were black and white. And when you turn them off, it would take them a while before the picture, would dissipate. So it was like somebody unplugged me, took my plug out the wall, and my picture was just going like this, fast, and it was in a million things rushing. But I don't have time to do something. I gotta do my time. Your time is up just like that. Like, oh, fuck, this is the end. And it's not sleep. You're not about to drop off to sleep. You know the difference between sleep and death. And there's definitely a difference. It's not like you're dozing off. There's a finality with death. It's nothing like sleep. Sleep, I'm gonna pass out, I'm gonna wake up in the morning, I'm gonna wake up in a while. Death, that this is permanent. When I opened my eyes, I was convinced from the moment that I opened my eyes that God left me here for a reason, and that reason was to try to help as many people as possible.
In 2017, Fletcher suffered a heart attack and was put on a waiting list for a heart transplant. On May 5th, 2018, CT announced that they had found a heart, and the next day he underwent a heart transplant surgery that lasted for 11 hours.
I went into it totally, I was totally unafraid because, how could you not be? How could you not be worried? I was totally unworried because I turned everything over to God. I had no control in the situation whatsoever. I'm gonna let him worry about it. I'm not gonna worry about it at all because it's not in my control. There's nothing I can do about it, and me worrying about something that's not in my control is not gonna improve the situation at all. I can worry about it as much as I want to. It's not gonna help it. Not gonna help it at all. So if I just turn everything over to somebody else's hands and let them worry about it, then I'm fine. So I'm going into the operation, and I'm not worried about the outcome whatsoever. I mean, if I come out of this thing and I'm still alive, then I'll be here to tell everybody that God did it, wasn't me. And if I don't, I ain't gonna know nothing about it anyway. The woman, by the way, I have a woman, sorry, I know everybody knows that by now, but I see her often in my mind. I see her telling her husband, hey, honey, I see him get home from work. I see her making plans with her kids for the weekends. I see her picking up her grandkids. I see her doing all types of things. And I see her as never suspecting that that would be her last moment, the last time she talked to her husband, last time she talked to her grandkids, last time she talked to her daughters or sons. She never suspected that. That's what I envision when I see her. So I owe it to her to live every moment of the rest of her life, because I'm not just living the rest of my life, I'm living the rest of her life because I have her heart. So I'm living the rest of her life for her. And I see it as my obligation, my duty to her to live it to the absolute fullest. I did not want my kids to see me absolutely that weak, because I've been their Superman. I've been the one they look up to, but so it's always me not wanting to let them down or let them see me, but at that time, it was absolutely nothing I could do about it, man. What they would not see from their dad is a broken spirit. Now, my body may let me down, but my spirit is fucking stronger than ever. So when they say, "Hey, Dad, how you doing?" I'm blessed. I don't give a fuck if I couldn't stand up straight, couldn't put my clothes on. How you doing? I'm blessed. So they can see the body broken. They'll never see Dad's spirit broken. I said a prayer. I asked God that if I was going to continue to have to live like this, to please kill me. I would never kill myself, but I want, hey, please end my life, or just, I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. If I got to go through this, I'd rather be dead. And that's what I prayed and asked, I told God that. So that's how bad, it was. The guy that was, had a zest for life my whole life, and loved life. I was ready to chuck it in if it was going to be like this. If you're going through a really tough time, a lot of people are suffering from depression, and they are going through a very tough time mentally. Find something. I don't care what it is. It don't have to be weightlifting. Definitely doesn't have to be weightlifting. I don't care what it is, but invest your energy, and this is gonna sound strange, invest your energy in trying to help somebody else. And you will be surprised at how much benefit you'll get from genuinely trying to help someone else. Instead of worrying about yourself so much and how woe is me so much, genuinely try to help somebody else. It's always somebody else that's worse off than you. Go out there and try to help somebody else, man. Take the focus off you and put it on somebody else.
C.T. Fletcher makes you reflect and ask yourself the tough questions. Why don't you help others? Why don't you strive towards your goal? Because you had a tough upbringing? Because you had an abusive father? Because you suffer from genetic conditions? These are all reasons why CT helps people. He uses these to inspire others. The very thing that should hold him back are his catalysts. They are his fuel to help inspire others. At some point in his life, there was a switch. It was his magnificent obsession, the fire that fueled his life, the fire that drew strength from the ethereal, a blaze so bright it would burn down any obstacle in its path, a roaring inferno that would destroy all excuses and bestow light upon millions of people who were lost in the darkness.
I still have a magnificent obsession mentality. It's just switched. Yeah, I think to be the absolute best at anything, I mean, you can be good or pretty good or so-so, or I'm competitive, but to be absolutely the best, you have to be obsessed with that. You can't casually be the best. That's fucking impossible. You can't haphazardly be the fucking best. That's impossible. If you want to be the fucking best, you're gonna have to be obsessed with that shit. And I don't care what it is you want to be the best at. That obsessive personality or character trait It's something that you must be born with. You have to have, because I can't teach you obsession. That is something that comes from within. Either you got it or you don't fucking got it. If it's in you to be obsessed, that kind of obsessive personality, it's there. You just have to find out what your obsession is. And you can instantly spot it. When I see another person that has it, that spark, I talked to Hoist Gracie, and he told me, he said, I never planned the after party or going out and having drinks with my friends after the fight. And I was like, and why is that, Hoist? He goes, because I am prepared to die in that octagon. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no after the fight. I'm prepared to die right here on this motherfucking octagon. Fuck, there's somebody else on the fucking planet who's just as crazy as me and who's willing to go just as fucking far as I am. A lot of people wouldn't understand it. They just they couldn't comprehend because they have a playing it safe type of mentality. Oh, that's just crazy. I would never do that. They would not be willing. They'll go so far, and then the caution lights will come on. And, I'm sorry, I just can't. It's the type of mindset that there is no caution lights. There is no hazard signs. There is no barriers. You're driving a car that has no fucking brakes and only high gear. I got no brakes, only fucking high gear. I don't have any fallback plan. It's tunnel vision. I'm gonna fucking do this or I'm gonna die trying. That is the attitude of the obsessed. Nope, I don't, no. What about this? Nope, I don't got time for that. What about this? Nope, I don't got time for that. I'm doing this. But what if it doesn't work? That's how you think. And that's why it won't work for you. Because you always have that question in you, well, what if? Fuck what if? I don't have time for what if. This shit is gonna be done because I fucking said so. You look at people's before and after picture. You see a before picture where they start out all fucked up, and then in the after picture they look wonderful because they put themselves through all this stuff. Some people's life will be a before and a fucking before. They will never have a fucking after. There will never be an after picture. I would much rather have the life or live a life where I have a fucking after picture where I can look back and say, I did this, I accomplished that, I went after it, I fucking did that. You're showing your grandkids your pictures and from 1953, you look fucked up in 1953, you show them in 2023, you still look fucked up. Hey, look, grandpa ain't never been shit. I was always fucked up. I don't have an after picture, kids. I'm fucking before and before, man. I don't have an after picture. So I'd much rather be a has-been than never was. I have no tolerance or no time for self-pity. Self-pity, oh my God, you get on my fucking nerves. Shut the fuck up and eat that shit. You're like, it's too hard. Oh, I can't. Shut the fuck up and do that shit.
Almost like your dad wanted you to be a preacher. Ironically, you kind of did in some ways.
Yeah, and that is the ironic part of everything. That's the thing I fought against so, drastically as a kid. And whatever he wanted, I wanted to be the total opposite of what he wanted me to be. That's for sure. If he wanted to be a preacher, I wanted to be the biggest asshole that there was. Oh no, man. Whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna do the fucking opposite of that. So that was my goal. And I also wanted to outdo him in every area. He was a soldier. I went into the army to out-soldier my dad. You know, he was the drill sergeant, the strict guys. I wanted to go in just to show that motherfucker that I could out-soldier him. I started fighting because I wanted to show him that I could out-fight him. I did a lot of, and I think he could always, the reason why we never got along is I think he could always feel that tension, although, you know, I would never say it to him, or never, I tried to hide it as best, but if that was going on in my head, and it seemed like he could read my fucking mind, man. He could tell that, you know, I always wanted to, nope. A submission, being submissive is just egregious to my nature. I just can't do that. I can't bow down, and that's exactly, I told him, you know, later on when I got to be a young adult, hey, you always wanted us, I was afraid of you as a kid, and I hated that. And he said, that's exactly what I wanted you to be, is afraid of me. And I said, well, you know, it worked back then, but goddamn it, it's a new day now, and I ain't scared of your fucking ass, and there ain't shit you can do about it. And that you know, that made me feel really good. That's the only mission. That is it. That's mission number one. That is my number one goal, is to try to inspire somebody else, try to reach somebody. If something I can do to inspire or help somebody else, if you can be of service to somebody else, I mean, that is it. When you do something and don't expect a fucking thing in return, nothing, then you're doing something. And you can present to the world any picture that you want, and people that don't know you will buy that picture. But how will the people that really know you, really had a chance to interact, how will they see you? That's what's real, that's your legacy. That's what lives on. I mean, this fake shit, it will pass away, baby.
100%. And I love that, that's the message.
To be able to come to Long Beach and stay at the Iron Addicts gym and meet C.T. Fletcher and his son, the honour is not lost on us. It's not lost on my brothers. Thank you so much for all the support and all the support that we've had through MulliganBrothers.com. As we always say, we are just getting started. Today's video was made possible from your support at MulliganBrothers.com. Everybody who's bought an Inspire Change t-shirt, a journal, a poster has made this possible.